Welcome to Season 3 of Rush of Fear podcast, where we chat all things Halloween Horror Nights, Universal Orlando's premier scare event. Tonight for episode 15, we are chatting all the nitty-gritty details and benefits of Stay and Scream as we approach the beginning of HHN 32. So now, let the mayhem begin.
What a rush of fear.
Hi, everybody. It is Michelle, your host with the mostest. Not really, though. I think the mostest is my co-hosts. I got Maddy.
Hi.
And the lovely Kenneth.
It depends on the most of what, I think.
Oh, I love this game.
What?
The most. Kenneth, what do you have the most of? The most knowledge about HHN, that's for damn sure.
Out of the three of us,
True.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And Maddy, you have the most tech-savvy knowledge, I believe.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
Because without you, this podcast would not exist.
I have the most enthusiasm.
That's
that too.
That's accurate.
All right, guys. So I had the idea to have this episode because of my own trip planning. So I have a lot of things going on opening weekend. And so much, though, that I have several schedules going on with multiple groups of people to try to coordinate all the things. And in doing so, I was trying to decide, especially with having a meetup for some of my agents from my agency and training them on all things HHN, I was trying to decide if it would be best for us to do Stay and Scream together or to have dinner and then head into the park with the horde of crowds and do the opening ceremonies. So I literally spent an hour or so just weighing the pros and cons of what I should do and how I should plan this with this group of people. And I thought, surely I'm not the only one that has to think about this every time they're deciding to do a night of HHN. And I don't know that I've ever heard anybody really discuss this Stay and Scream thing in detail before. So I thought, well, why not us?
Yeah.
That is how that came to be.
Have we not talked about this in detail before? It feels like this episode we've done this topic in the past.
I don't think an entire episode. I think we've definitely talked about Stay and Scream as a part of our audio guides for the event each year that we've done it, but not as an entire episode and actually going into the details and the pros and cons and
Okay.
all this stuff
we've
know
discussed
about it.
the holding zones and things like that, of course, when given the full event layout. But literally as a planner, as a travel planner, and I know there are tons of planners out there, not just actual professional ones like me, but just people in general who are super planners when it comes to going on vacations. So I thought this would be a good thing to talk about and give those people a little bit of things to think about when they're trying to decide how they're going to do their HHN night or nights.
Yeah.
So let's jump in and just really briefly talk about just what Stay and Scream is. Maddy, do you want to kind of start us off with that?
Yeah, sure. So Stay and Scream is something that Universal has offered for their Halloween Horror Nights event. You can kind of do it two different ways. So we'll talk about the first way. That is if you have a day ticket to Universal Studios Orlando, whether it's just a ticket for the day or an annual pass, as long as you are inside the gates of Universal before it officially closes for the day to regular just daytime park guests, which I think last year was 5.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock always.
Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere always.
Always. So as long as you are scanned into Universal Studios before 5 o'clock, you are good to stay in the park itself as they kind of clear out the day guests, doing the super fun security sweep, which is it's so exciting to be in a Stay and Scream location for the security sweep, because like as they pass by you in their yellow shirts, you're like getting all jittery because you know that the event is starting soon. It's so exciting. I love it. That first security sweep of the season, I'm always like, oh, here it is. So you're going to be in a holding area, and we'll talk about the different holding areas a little bit further on. But that is the first way. And then your second way is going to be this extra cost. So let's say you don't have a day ticket, you don't have an annual pass, you're just coming for Horror Nights, but you want to do Stay and Scream because you want to get the most out of your night. You can pay for something called the Scream Early Ticket, which this year is $40 on top of your regular Halloween Horror Nights ticket that you have purchased. So you get into the park. Oh gosh, I don't have it pulled up. Oh no,
What,
I think
for
you
the
get
Scream
into the
Early
park.
thing?
Yeah, is it 2 or 3?
3.
3 o'clock. You get into the park. You can, with your Scream Early ticket, it gives you like a barcode. Looks kind of like a day ticket, works kind of like a day ticket, but you can scan into the park at 3 o'clock. You get 2 hours of just being in Universal Studios, which I think is super cool. You can ride rides, all that good gobbledygook, and then move into your holding location towards that 5 o'clock area for the start of Halloween Horror Nights.
Right.
Yeah.
Slay.
Yeah.
Crushed
Very
it.
good.
Thank you.
So, some pros of doing this. You ask, why would anybody want to do this? The biggest reason why people do this is because they get basically a freebie house or two. So when you're in one of these holding zones, they let you out into the park early, usually, before the rest of the hordes come in through the main gate. And they, depending on which holding area you're in, you will be directed to 1 or 2 different house options that you can have first dibs at, basically. And depending on the crowd levels and how fast everybody runs to the houses once the main gates open, you can get in 1, maybe even 2 houses before the lines really get big. And then, of course, another big pro is you do miss that big crowd of people that are all waiting at the main gate to get in. If that's not your thing, you get to miss all of that craziness. Can you guys think of any other pros that I'm missing?
Oh gosh.
You you really get a head start on almost everything. Depending on which area you're in, you'll have access to some of the food booths ahead of time, and they'll open those as soon as the Stay and Scream holding areas open. So like you can start on your specialty drinks, get your blankie cup right away early in a shorter line than the bars will have later. But yeah, the biggest pro is definitely missing that huge crowd at the arches and getting into lines. Really, you can get in line as soon as Stay and Scream opens. I don't know what time they start letting people into Stay and Scream, but you can go and get in a line as soon as it opens. And, so you're still waiting, but you're going to knock that house out real fast and then move on to the next one.
Yeah. And what they started doing last year, because I really don't remember them doing it in years previous, especially for the COVID HHN. But last year, they were kind of setting you up in a line inside the holding location. The one that I did the most, which we'll talk about later on, was Richter Burgers, and Richter Burgers dumped into the Blumhouse, which is in the Fast and Furious queue. And so you could choose either like sitting inside Richter Burgers and like eating the food, or sitting at the Amity bar and just drinking out there at the picnic tables. And then about 15 minutes before the security sweep gets to you, they kind of set up a line kind of around the building with a end of line like popsicle following that end of the line. So you could be one of those first people into the house, and then as the Stay and Scream location opened up, like everyone else in the Stay and Scream location would kind of filter out as well. which I think was super nice. I know that they did that back when we had Beetlejuice. They like set up those lines for Beetlejuice and Monsters back there. But yeah, it's a really great way to, like we've all said, get a jump start on your evening. And let's say you only have the one night and you're not using Express. It is a fantastic way to make sure that you get at least 1 to 2 houses done before the main rush of crowd open up. And it's also a really great way, like if you're coming in with friends, to kind of sit and relax and enjoy your friends or family or whoever you're going with in kind of like a quieter, sometimes air-conditioned area with food beforehand before the craziness of the event actually starts. Or like for us, having a little business meeting in the rain. Under a very small umbrella.
Yes.
That's true too. I kind of forgot about the social element of it. Is like Stay and Scream is where you can almost be sure, especially the New York Stay and Scream, you're going to run into a lot of, mutual Twitter friends and like online people that you've interacted with or that you follow or people that you listen to on podcasts and stuff. Like that's where everybody kind of is always in that one same spot. And then once the night gets going, everybody is dispersed and doing their various interests and stuff. But like you make friends at Stay and Scream if you want to. It's very easy.
Yeah.
And it's a nice that's where you really feel that Horror Nights community, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And even like for me, if I'm not doing Stay and Scream with people, for me, Stay and Scream is the perfect point to like relax and like focus on myself and the quiet before it gets very, very loud. As I've grown up, I've gotten more sensitive to like loud noises. So it's a great time for me to just kind of like take a moment and sit down in the air conditioning and relax and focus on like what I'm going to do that night, or just the in between coming from work and then going to the event. Like it's just very nice. But one of my favorite things is kind of just like looking out at the people around me and seeing just the veterans of Horror Nights in their like 2007 shirts and their lanyards from 1999. And, you know, they're sitting with people who have very similar things on and they're talking about, oh, that house back in like HHN 13 or, oh, that scare zone back in HHN 25. But then they're sitting there with like their kids and their family. And it just becomes this, like you said, Kenneth, this huge community kind of moment. Or you have the beginners who've never been to Horror Nights before, but they found out about Stay and Scream and they're super smart and they're in there with all of the other, you know, veteran HHN people, and they're not in any Horror Nights gear, but they have that map out and they're like plotting their little path that they're going to take. And they're like, oh, we're going to go see this show at this time. And it's just so nice. It's very fun. I like people watching.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that was a lot of insight, honestly, that I was not privy to. And that's only because like I said, I haven't really done Stay and Screams a lot myself. Other than Today Cafe with you guys, which that was an interesting holding area.
Yeah. That was just an interesting start of the event anyways, because of the weather. So
we'll get into all that, but that was interesting. And then I did The Simpsons with family and friends, and that was also interesting. And I have a slightly different view of my experiences than you guys do. So that's why my list of cons is a little bit longer than the list of pros that I originally came up with.
Interesting.
So that being said, let's jump into some cons. And those are mainly from my personal experience. If you guys did not experience this, feel free to chime in. But from my experience, especially in the Simpsons area, it was uncomfortable. And I know that all of the different zones have the potential for you to be uncomfortable the whole time that you're standing there waiting. For instance, it's a really hot day and you couldn't get inside Finnegan's, so you're stuck standing in the sun outside Finnegan's. Same at Simpsons. Sometimes you're just standing there, and if you get into the holding area at 5:00, you're standing there for an hour, you know, and that can be uncomfortable if you don't have a place to sit or be out of the sun. Same with weather. Even if it's not sun, it could be rain, right, guys?
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say the worst stay in screen. And it's why I don't do it very often on like more towards the beginning of the event, just because you're still in that, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock thunderstorm every single day period, is the New York scare zone or the stay in scream location. Cause besides inside Finnegan's, there's not much cover.
Right.
You're in that holding pen outside of Finnegan's and on that back alleyway. And unless you brought an umbrella or you somehow managed to get inside Finnegan's, you're SOL.
Yeah. Same with Simpsons. There's no cover.
Yeah.
Well,
like at all.
The Simpsons actually has the entire Fast Food Boulevard open.
They didn't when I did it.
They didn't?
We weren't allowed to go over there.
Really?
No. Nope.
Wow.
It might have been that they hadn't cleared it of day guests yet. But at a certain point, typically, I don't know what happened the day you were there. And I've done the Simpsons Stay and Scream a lot because the year that Slaughter Cinema was back in those tents, I was staying and screaming at Simpsons every day. And I would wait for them to open up Fast Food Boulevard. And when they opened it up to HHN, everybody would walk in there. I might go get a Krusty Burger or a pizza or whatever I felt like that day and just kind of find a table, sit down, put my headphones in, watch some episodes of a show or something, and then wait for the line to open up.
I really don't know what was wrong because we were starving and we wanted to go over there, but they had it roped off on the other side of the street where the bar is, and we couldn't go over there unless we were asking permission to go to the bathroom and come right back.
Interesting.
And then at some point closer to the time that they were opening the holding areas to let us start getting in line for actual houses, those of us that wanted to go to the back house to the sprung tent would get in a line up towards where the carnival games are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then those that wanted to go to like the kids zone area got in lines back the other direction. So I don't know. That was my experience, but I know I was sweltering hot and my crew was starving and we had access to nothing.
Yeah, I didn't do Simpsons last year because I mostly did Richter Burgers, but when I did it in years previous, there are some times when you get to stay and scream and like Kenneth said, they already have Fast Food Boulevard cleared of day guests and they just start letting people go in. They usually have like corrals so that you can either go in on the bar side or you can go in on Fast Food Boulevard side, but there's still an alleyway down the center of Simpsons land for day guests to like exit out of. And then anyone on the bar side that needs to use the restroom, they'll like pass through, but like with team members' help to the other side.
Right.
But there has been some times where I've done Simpsons where, like Kenneth said, they didn't have Fast Food Boulevard cleared. So they held everyone on the bar side until they had it cleared. And then they opened up the pathway for you to go like in between the two.
Interesting.
And I've done it on both sides. I've done the bar side for the full time. I've done the pass through time. And then I've done the time where you just go right into Simpsons. And as someone who loves air conditioning, I definitely prefer the side of Fast Food Boulevard.
Yeah.
100%.
But the one of the worst times that I ever did stay and scream outside of our time at Today Show Cafe was back in HHN 28. And we got to stay and scream like in the nick of time. Like the person that I went with, we were running to the gates of Universal and we scanned in at like 459.7 and we got in and we like ran back to Simpsons and we were like, oh my gosh, okay, maybe we'll make it into Fast Food Boulevard before the thunderstorm hits. And we didn't, fun fact. And then we were stuck kind of there's that gift shop off on the side of the bar.
Yes.
With no cover except for a roof. And we were stuck in there. Like they held the release, like the park was clear, but they held the release of us into the houses because the park was Weather 101 and it was an actual hurricane. Like it was raining sideways into the gift shop. It was crazy.
Wow.
But I do like Simpsons. It's a good time.
Yeah. So mixed experiences there. So I guess the case in point is you never know what you're going to get. depending on what's available to you at the time. You know, is there space available indoors? You don't know. My experiences where there was not space available and we were sweltering and hot. Yeah. And I almost lost Nancy. There was the one time she came to HHN with me and she was like, oh my God, this is absolutely miserable. And I haven't even gone to a house yet. I was like, we can do it. It's okay. Here, have a beer. You'll be fine. Yeah. So another con is just waiting. You know, if you're not a fan of standing around and waiting, if you'd rather be chilling at your hotel and come in later, or going to have a nice dinner at City Walk and then come in after the crowds, like that's fine. But if you go into a holding area, you will be held there. You will be just waiting it out. Some people are fine with that. Some people aren't. So for some, that's a con. And this doesn't sound like something that you guys experience, and maybe it's a newbie feeling. But because I'm such a planner and I wasn't very seasoned in Stay and Scream, I felt like the whole time I was in the area, I felt like I didn't know what was going on. Oh, you okay?
Sorry. Yeah, I was putting something on a charger and then it flew out of my hand.
Oh, fun.
We're fine. Continue.
Yeah, so I felt like I needed to constantly be paying attention to the team members in the area to see like when they were going to have us start getting in lines and okay, what is that team? What sign is that team member holding? And which house do I want to go into first? And you know, okay, so this is the team member that's holding that sign and I need to follow her. Oh, where is she going? Is she about to have us? Like the whole time I felt like I was like,
yeah.
Like, you know, I got to be paying attention and get in line because I've wasted all my time standing here. You know, sure as hell don't want to be at the back of this line now and just have wasted my last hour. So that was a feeling that might just be a personal one, or it might be a newbie thing. I don't know. But that's how I felt.
I think it's a mix of both. Like the Stay and Scream and Horror Nights in general, every year is kind of the first time it's ever happened, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can do Stay and Scream every year, and still, like, when you go for the first time to this year, you got to be like, okay, how are they doing it this time? Because it'll change based on what's happening in the park in general, outside of HHN, what construction projects are happening, what paths have they decided this year they're going to try to use. And so if you keep doing Stay and Scream regularly in the beginning of the season, it might even be changing day to day or week to week there as they try to figure out the best way to do it within what they're aiming for.
And it does. Not even like it does change all the time. Because last year I did the New York Scare Zone, or I keep saying that, the New York Stay and Scream on like a Wednesday. Just by myself for fun. And then Lindsay came into town and we did the New York Stay and Scream on Thursday because I wanted her to get one of the houses done with like limited line. And from Wednesday to Thursday, the way that they set up the lines and how they organize people were vastly different. And that is just like those are back-to-back days. And that happened very often. Like in the beginning of the run last year, they weren't doing the line at Richter Burgers to go into the Blumhouse. It was just kind of like a free-for-all when the gates open. But then they started doing a line like 2 or 3 weeks in. So it changes constantly. And it may also be based on like the house as well. Like obviously there are Stay and Scream specific houses and then other ones will open up at the beginning of the event. But like a Stay and Scream specific house may be having some sort of like technical difficulty or like too many actors called out or like whatever it may be. So even though it's technically a Stay and Scream designated house, it may not be open for Stay and Scream for whatever the reason. So it's just kind of one of those things where we don't find out the Stay and Scream specific houses until like the first night of the event. So us talking about it right now, especially since we don't even technically know where the houses are, even though we have some inkling just kind of based on knowledge. But you see things on the internet. It's whatever.
Right.
But like, we don't know if, let's say Stranger Things is going to be a Stay and Scream house this year. We won't know that until the first night of the event,
right,
when everyone goes into the Stay and Scream houses and we figure out which ones it is. So
right.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
That could be a con for somebody like me who likes to know what's going on and like to do my research ahead of time.
Yeah.
And like to feel like I'm in charge, not in charge, but like I like to know what I'm doing.
And
that research can be done, but not for opening night. That's the thing, is like, if you're trying to do all of this on the first night, it's, well, one, that's going to be like the busiest night of the event. So Stay and Scream is only going to be able to do so much to help you anyway. At that point, you really are there more for the hangs than for the benefit of what Stay and Scream offers. But that research can be done and you can account for it, and they might throw you a curveball here or there with like how they are running the Stay and Scream. But it definitely offers, I would say, if you are going alone or if you're going with someone that that like they can get on your nerves kind of easily, then I would maybe not recommend Stay and Scream. Because it really, to me, Stay and Scream is a social event more than it is a time-saving event. Because sometimes I'll do Stay and Scream and not even go into a house right away. I'll like hang out in the Stay and Scream. I'll get my Blinky cup drink or my pumpkin beer or whatever it is. And then I'll be like, all right, cool. I'm going to just go like check out this scare zone over here. And so like, I didn't even do what the Stay and Scream is for. I was just there hanging out, having a good time. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to wander around, try some snacks.
And I think that's very much the difference between like a multi-night frequenter of horror nights, like a multi-night ticket, frequent fear person, versus someone who is doing Stay and Scream for their single night or like for their weekend. Like they're going to do Stay and Scream both nights to get things out of the way. So like neither is good nor is it bad. It's just kind of like how you are experiencing the event. But I will say that I've done the same thing, especially as a theme park photographer. Sometimes I like to get daytime shots of the scare zones. So I want to be like in the scare zone right when the scare actors come out, because I know it's still going to be daylight outside, especially before the time change in October. So, everyone's reason for going into Stay and Scream is different, and the things they get out of Stay and Scream are different, but we're just here to give you the facts and our opinions about Stay and Scream.
And our experiences of our experiences.
Yeah.
It's just, it's kind of like it's a get what you get situation. Like there's going to be things that, okay, this will most likely happen every single day. The park closes at 5. The event opens at what? 6:30
officially.
6:30. I'm so good at times. You'll most likely be let out of your Stay and Scream location somewhere between 6 and 6:15 based on how quickly they can clear the park and when the houses are open. And
some houses open at 5:45.
True. There will be some semblance of either shade, air conditioning, or none of the above. So those are going to be your guarantees.
Right. I mean, and we've had our situations with rain ourselves. We weren't even let into the Today Show Cafe to be in the Stay and Scream area while we were standing out in the rain, waiting for them to scan our passes to let us into it was interesting.
I don't even remember why we chose.
I think we wanted to see the opening ceremony.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's very fair. Well, that's another thing. I don't know if we've actually mentioned that. If you're in a Stay and Scream location that is not Today Show Cafe, you will not be seeing the opening ceremonies of the event. But also, if you are at the gates of the park and you're not within that first little bit of like big fancy gate and you're kind of off on the side or even further back in the horde of people outside the gate, you're also not going to see the opening ceremonies. So if it is super important to you to see opening ceremonies, either be at Today Show Cafe, Stay and Scream, or at the gates of the park as soon as you can, but there's going to be no shade there either, and there's going to be a lot of people.
And the opening ceremony moment is probably not going to be worth the hours of waiting in the sun that you did.
True.
You're going to see it on YouTube.
Very
it's
true.
like such a small little thing. It's really like it's not a big show moment. It's like, here's a little thing. No. Now you can come in. That's basically kind of it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Speak for yourself, because
Michelle loves the opening ceremony.
I do. And it was like, and it's because of nostalgia. I've said it a million times that my very first time going to HHN, that was my experience. Like, I wasn't necessarily right at the gates. I did happen to shove my way up a little bit closer than I was or I should have been. But I was close enough that I could like see through the gates and see the fog start and see the stilt walkers come out and hear the music build. And it was like, oh my God, like it was the scariest moment ever.
Yeah.
Aside from, starting contractions during childbirth, I was literally that scared. Having never gone to the event before, I probably could have peed my pants.
That's fair.
And then when they finally open the gates, it's just like this, okay, here we go. Like diving in head first. And
that's very valid.
It was cool. Like it was a cool experience. Yeah. Now the way that we did it at Today's show, like the Today Cafe, that was weird. Like it was, I don't know. Like,
yeah. Well, I think if there hadn't have been weather for our time at that Stay and Scream on that specific day, it would have been fine. The ceremonies would have been done the way that it was supposed to be done on opening night. And, it would have been a lot better. But I think the weather definitely played a part in how that whole like hour period happened.
It was just weird.
Yeah. I do think one thing though, even if you're like a newbie to Horror Nights, or if you're a veteran like the rest of us, like one of my other favorite things besides watching like the security sweep go by is specifically in the New York scare zone, or like if there's any scare zone where set pieces have to be brought out or things have to be like set up for the event because they can't be out during the daytime. I love sitting there and watching them like take things down and take the tarps off of the dead gross bodies and start the fog. And when that music changes from like the daytime New York music to the Stay and Scream music or the scare zone music, you're like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah, here we go.
And then they bring out all the vehicles, like for the Zombieland, they had to bring out all those vehicles every day and park them in the right spots. And you were like, oh my gosh, like you're watching, this film set be put together in front of you.
That's
like it's just
cool.
It's very fun. It's very neat and interesting. And like, it might ruin the magic a little bit, but it's just so cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys might be convincing me to change my plans. I'm just going to say that.
Switch sides. Switch sides.
You are anti Stay and Scream? Is that what you're...
No, I wouldn't. No, I'm not at all anti anything.
Okay.
For me, it's all about when to do it and when not to do it, which is what this episode's about.
Okay.
So that being said, let's talk about when to do it. So for me, in my opinion, that would be a good thing to do when you're a seasoned attendee. So, I mean, obviously, from the way you guys talk, you guys are locals. It's not a rush for you to try to get everything done in one night because you have multiple nights you can go. You guys have the social aspect of it where you get to hang out and see local buddies, run into people that you guys frequent or know through your channels.
Yeah.
I get that. That's 100% a great reason to do that. On the opposite side, it's also a good thing to do if you only have one night to do it all, especially if you don't have Express Pass. But even if you do have Express Pass and you only have one night, that's still a rush.
Yeah.
I've done it before, but you're exhausted at the end of the night for sure.
Yeah.
So if you only got one night to do it, do Stay and Scream for sure.
Yeah. If you only have one night to do it and you don't want to pay for Express, I'm going to go ahead and say the best way to do Horror Nights is to do Stay and Scream at The Simpsons, Go knock out all those houses at the back of the park, and you could probably get like 4 or 5 houses done in the first like hour and a half if you start in the back on the right night.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah, because it takes a while for the crowds to move back there.
Yeah. Like you'll only be competing against other stay in screamers at the back of the park at that first few, because like that the most of the people are going to be rushing back to New York at the sound stages where they like to put the headliner houses. Like Stranger Things is probably over there this year. The one that's going to kind of throw it off this year is The Last of Us. I think The Last of Us is going to be in one of the parade buildings. So that's going to kind of split the flow of traffic coming into the park in those 2 separate directions, the way that it did when Beetlejuice was back there, and with the weekend being back there, like those are going to kind of spread the crowds around a little more evenly. But you're still going to get less. You're going to be able to knock those sprung tents out real fast through Stay and Scream. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable waiting, but you're going to have to pay one way or another. You're going to pay money for Express, or you're going to pay with your comfort at Stay and Scream. But you're like doing things quickly and efficiently is going to cost you something somehow.
That's true.
You know, it's just the way it is.
Back in 29, I brought my dad to the event for a night, and he had never been to Horror Nights before. So it was just kind of like and he also wanted to leave by 10. I was like, okay. So we did the Simpsons Stay and Scream, and it was a moderately busy night. I wouldn't say it was high peak or like the lowest of attendance. It was middle of the road, but we got, I think, the first 5 houses done within a matter of like an hour.
That's
hour
awesome.
And a half. It was crazy. And this was 29. So this was back when it was like Nightingales, Depths of Fear. I think a Blumhouse was back. No, not Blumhouse. It was the,
House of the Thousand Corpses?
Yeah. And the town,
Scary, Ohio? Okay. Then not A Thousand Corpses. That must I think that was 28.
No, Scary Ohio. Wasn't that with Wicked Growth?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Oh, so it was House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was the year that I was a scare actor.
29 had Ghostbusters, Killer Clowns in the Scare Zone. Stranger Things 2 and 3.
A good year.
It was a good. That was Marathon of Mayhem year. It's the best year of my whole life.
Oh,
it was
so good.
It was an arcade year. But I think one thing. Oh, I know. I mean, for being a scare actor that year, and also an arcade, and it was just Zombieland. Like, it was a great year.
And
really
pre-COVID.
Good year.
Before all
yeah, that's true.
Fair.
The last pre-COVID HHN.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think one thing specifically relating to the Simpsons Scare Zone, the 2 parade buildings, and the sprung tents this year is going to be that kid zone construction. I think, and we'll talk about it a bit more when we get into like the actual locations, but I think the Simpsons / Central Park Stay and Scream is going to be vastly different than what we've experienced to this point, just because of that construction.
I think the whole event is going to be vastly different because of that. Those house entrances are going to have to be moved around, and I don't really understand how they're going to be able to route those queues.
Somehow make the lines shorter and not longer. Please.
Oh my gosh, all that Curious George looping back and forth to get into last year would have been Monsters, I think.
I hate like you have to walk a mile to get back there, even to where the line is, like the actual queue of people starts. And then you go through the house, and then you have to walk a mile back out, and then you just flip around and you do it all over again. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, because they're not going to be able to use ET as an exit area because it's just too blocked off. I don't see how it's possible.
Yeah, I think that'll have to be an entrance to a house, and then the exit will be elsewhere, shared with another house.
Well, are they still having people... Remember, the last time that I rode E.T., 2 of the lanes to go in and watch Steven Spielberg were active, and then the third one closest to the entrance was like the exit area. So I wonder if they're just going to keep that open during HHN and have people going through that I don't want to call it a briefing room, but like the
pre-show,
the briefing room. Yeah. Pre-show. There you go. Good word. I was using my Star Wars lingo there. It's just going to be very
maybe
funky.
They'll open up the gates that are right next to La Bamba where the actual parade floats come out and then.
I don't know if they'll be able to do that because that's how all of the characters get to this Central Park and Hollywood Scare Zones is across that that street behind there.
And I want to say that's also a potential like plan B gate, right? Like if there's an emergency, they have to open those up and bring
possibly
vehicles in and out or have people exit that way.
That would also be so much longer of a walk than you've ever done at HHN. Like that would make Bugs look like a slight little stroll.
Because like that back road is so if you've ever done the parade float riding for Mardi Gras, they park you along that road.
Yeah.
And that walk from your float back into the park is the walk through that gate. Like it's a hike.
Okay.
Well, you know the one thing, the one thing I'm sad about though this year,
I don't like the hikes.
Fair, sarcastically sad about is that we're not going to be able to go through Barney anymore to get to those houses. Yeah. That was always the funniest thing.
I know, it is hilarious.
Like walking through the Curious George area.
But just
taking my 10-year-old through that. She was like, "Are you sure this is a scary house?"
But just think someday soon we'll be walking through Shrek's swamp to get to haunted houses and the Trolls Village and Kung Fu Panda Town or whatever.
I love that.
Town. All right, well, let's get back on track. So all of that to say that if you don't have express passes or you're going just one night, Stay and Scream is a great thing to do to be able to try to fit it all in.
Yes.
And another reason for me that is a okay reason not to do it as well is if you're a hotel guest, you get your own dedicated entrance. So if skipping that crowd at the front of the main gates is your biggest worry, if you're a hotel guest, you get to skip that anyway. And it's super nice. I know in the past, they've done it 2 different places. They've done it over on the Hard Rock Hotel side, where like the kiosks are to pick up your tickets. There was a dedicated entrance over behind those ticket kiosks to get in from the side. Mm-hmm. And then one year they also, or I think more recently probably, they let us in through the Blue Man Group Theater entrance. And we actually kind of had our own little holding area right there between, if you just walk in through those gates right there, they held us right there next to Minions, which I know probably won't work. I don't know that they did that before because there is an entrance to a house right there now, right?
Sometimes I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know where.
Well, I mean, there was last year. There was an entrance to a house down that. Yeah. So, regardless, if you're a hotel guest, they do have a dedicated entrance just for you that most people don't know about. So, if skipping crowds is your thing, that's definitely the way to go. So let's talk about when not to do Stay and Scream. Can you guys think of any reasons not to do Stay and Scream? Because it doesn't sound like you have any reasons not to. Other than just time, obviously.
If you're doing an RIP tour.
Okay, that's a good one. Actually, that's not on my list.
If you somehow miss the 5:00 marker to get into the park.
Yeah.
Sucks. You're not going to do Stay and Scream.
Yep, there you go.
If it's a heat advisory day and you don't think you're going to make, and it's like a heat advisory, I'm thinking of like the worst possible scenario. Let's say it's like the busiest night of HHN. So you know that all of the air conditioning areas are going to be totally full of people. And it's also like a thunderstorm, but it's also a heat advisory. Don't do Stay and Scream. Yeah. Just stay at home and go when the rain is over.
Or any of the above. I mean, if there's bad weather in the forecast, and you don't want to take the chance that you're not going to be able to get inside a Stay and Scream area where there's roof and shelter, then that's definitely a reason not to do it in my book.
If you are like not worried about seeing a lot of houses and you're really just having a casual stroll around, no rush, no pressure kind of Horror Nights experience, then Stay and Scream, I would say Stay and Scream is not the right way to do the event at that point. You probably want to wait until it's dark, maybe have dinner somewhere in City Walk. Then,
drinks.
Yeah, drinks at City Walk, and then you kind of just mosey on in after that first crowd has already gotten in there.
True.
And then you just walk in and you're kind of like, what's going on in here? I'm going to...
What is this?
Yeah. I've had those kinds
of
nights.
What did I buy tickets to?
I've kind of had those. And again, that feels more like if you have a frequent fear, then you're more likely to have one of those kinds of nights. But I've definitely had those where it's like, you know what? Maybe I will go to Horror Nights tonight. And then you just show up way late and you're just like, okay, this is nice. You know, I didn't have to wait in the sun.
Yeah.
I didn't have to fight the crowds. I'm just kind of having a time.
And it's just chilling.
It's so funny how different of an experience it is doing Stay and Scream like all the time, and then having that one day, like I get scheduled. Normally I work morning, so I'm able to like make it to the park for Stay and Scream, or I'm, waiting at the arches and just kind of like follow the big rush in when it's still daytime. But that one day where I get scheduled to like 7:00, but then still want to go to HHN. So I get there by like 8:00, walking in and like scanning your HHN ticket instead of your daytime ticket, and it's dark outside and you just walk directly into an event that's already been happening for like 3 hours.
Bizarre,
it's
huh?
Wild. The vibes are so different.
It really is. That's very true.
Yeah. You got to do it. Like, I feel like as a frequent fear person and a goer of HHN every year, you have to like reset your own expectations every so often and be like, oh yes, this is the event. Like I don't have to get here when the sun's out.
Yeah, because also like when you do Stay and Scream all the time, you never see that entrance zone as an entrance zone. You walk like
so
from the back
jaded.
of it, and so when you walk in and you're like, wow, look, that's the Horror Nights. It's like trust.
This is what most people actually see.
Yeah,
I know.
To me, there's only two. For me personally, like there are more ways than this, but like as far as I'm concerned with my Horror Nights experience that I like to have, my options are either you do Stay and Scream or you wait until like 2 hours later. Like I don't want to walk in the main gate between 6 and 7 o'clock. I won't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, for me, standing in a crowd is standing in a crowd. Whether I'm standing in a crowd of Stay and Screamers at Finnegan's or I'm standing in a crowd at the front gates.
But the difference is at Stay and Scream, you're already in the park. So as soon as that crowd is released, you do whatever you want. You go in, but like...
Yeah.
Well, no, you follow your crowd to the house that you're designated to go to.
If that's what you want to do. If that's what you're waiting for.
There's something so different about like a Stay and Scream crowd and the front gate crowd, because right when that music changes at the arches, it's like you're at a concert. It is like you're at a Justin Bieber concert and all the little teeny boppers are trying to like push towards the barricade and everyone just mushes forward. And if you're either unknowing or like me one time, and I'll never do it again, kind of forgot how the front gates worked for HHN. And I was like up at the gate because I didn't make it for 5:00. And I was like, well, I don't need anything in City Walk. I'll just stand here and wait. I have an umbrella. Like I have shade. I'll be fine. It's not super hot. And then everyone mushed and I was like having a panic attack. The front gates are insane.
But if because you're somebody that doesn't mind that, then it's like a Justin Bieber concert where he walks on stage and everybody starts screaming because they're so excited. Like that happens too. The fog starts, the music changes, and everybody goes nuts, loses their mind. And if you like that kind of thing, it's really energizing and fun.
I will say though, the mush, because they don't let people, so there's the main center tall arch and then there's the side arches. They don't let people go through the side arches to get to the ticketing area. You have to go through the center arch. Mm-hmm. They like barricade it off. And so that it's like merging onto I-4 and rush hour traffic. So it's like the huge courtyard filtering through this teeny tiny little hallway.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The HHN birth canal.
You're on a theme tonight, Michelle.
I swear I'm not pregnant. I swear.
That would be so interesting for both you and I. One of us.
It happened once before. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh.
We won't get into that.
Let's talk about tips and tricks for stay and scream.
Yeah.
Yes.
So some tips. One that we learned the hard way, or at least I did, bring an umbrella. And that is good for whether you're standing in the sun or standing in the rain.
Dual purpose.
Yeah.
Yep. Somehow stay hydrated, because for me, we were out in the sun, could not get in shelter to save our lives. We tried and just wasn't working. So I had to keep going to the bar and asking for bottled waters for my crew. So definitely stay hydrated. Unfortunately, they don't let you take drinks into Halloween Horror Nights, so you have to either take water bottles and fill them up once you get inside, or purchase watcher while you're there.
Yeah. Listen, I hate having a backpack, but I will bring a backpack for Horror Nights simply for the fact of having a hydro flask or like some sort of metal containered water bottle, because, and Disney doesn't do this, which makes me so sad, but Universal, all of the Coke Freestyle machines have free water, and it's cold, and metal water bottles keep your water bottle very cold and they don't sweat inside your backpack. Nice. Or like the slings that they sold last year for the Freestyle cups, I use that for my water bottle instead of having to like hold it, and I just like hooked my keys to it. Have a water bottle. If you do not live in Florida, or you come from somewhere who, and this is coming from someone who has had to deal with so many alpha calls for heat-related illnesses in the past week of work, because we have been under this like crazy heat advisory. Like, I kid you not, Michelle, it is disgusting here. I feel like I'm walking through soup every single day.
The real feel yesterday was like 114.
Oh
yeah.
My gosh.
With like 100+% humidity.
Yeah.
It was insane. Bring a water bottle, or commit yourself to just buying water, because if you do not stay hydrated, whether you're in the park during the day or you're doing Halloween Horror Nights, you will not have a good time. You're going to wake up the next day feeling like you have the hangover of a million suns because you're not hydrated, and you're even more dehydrated for not being hydrated yesterday. Bring a water bottle.
Especially
hold it
if you're
in your
drinking
hand.
alcohol too, because that
God.
does the opposite of hydration.
Yeah.
All of this is things that we've learned the hard way. So
these aren't. That's not even a stay and scream tip. That's just like like if you are going to be outdoors in Florida, you need water.
Prepare
readily
yourself.
Available at any moment.
Yeah, but the reason why I put it here is because it's remember to somehow obtain drink and beverage before, if you can, get into the actual holding area, because sometimes like in the Simpsons area, the bar was where we had to go to do that, and it took a while because there were so many people there trying to get drinks.
That's true. That's true.
So.
I would also say one of the biggest tips for Stay and Scream is just knowing which Stay and Scream location you should go to see the houses that you want to see first.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people who just know that the New York one is there and might not know about other ones because that's like the biggest and the main one. And then like I'm sure there must have been countless people who like were in Stay and Scream and they're like, wait, where's the line for Beetlejuice? It's like, well, that's not at this one. So you find out. Well, decide what houses you want to see early. Find out if they're on the Stay and Scream list, and if so, where do you need to go stand to do that? And you can, even if you are doing Stay and Scream and you're in the park before it closes, just find someone who works in the park, a team member. A lot of people who work in the park are big fans of Halloween Horror Nights and will know the answers to these questions. Or if they don't know, one of their coworkers will, like someone nearby will know the answers to Horror Nights questions.
And once we know, once we know and the world knows, it's an easy search on the internet.
Yeah, that's true too.
But don't be afraid to ask. And don't just like get pigeonholed into like going into the first one you see.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're in the park during the day and you're back at like Minion or Men in Black and you're like, oh, there's the closest one to us. It's Simpsons. Let's just go there. Know what you want to do, just like Kenneth said.
Unless you don't care. Unless you're just
here for the vibes, then like,
and you just want to get into any house early.
Yeah, flip a coin, roll a d20, whatever you want to do, and then have that be your decision.
Yeah.
But also think about if you want to eat before the event in a Stay and Scream location, which one are you going to go do? Do you want a burger? Go to Richter Burgers. Do you want Sammy's? Go to Today Show Cafe. Do you just want to get liquored up at Finnegan's? Then go to the New York Stay and Scream.
Can I say, there was one time that I was invited by a group of friends. They were like, hey, we're going to go to Finnegan's before HHN, and we're going to be there when it switches over to the Stay and Scream if you want to hang out. And I was like, I've never done that before. Let's try it out. And I went there. That is the most luxurious... relaxing way to do Stay and Scream. And I mean, it's limited numbers, obviously, because the restaurant only has so many tables. So if you are willing to, pay the full service restaurant theme park prices, go ahead and try to get a table at Finnegan's around like 3:30 maybe, and get in there. And then like once they start switching over, they'll come around and be like, hey, we need to make sure everyone in here has an HHN ticket, and they'll start scanning you in. And then you're just good.
Wow.
You're just good to hang out in there. And like, that's the best.
Wild.
It's the best. And it's like, it's just not super available. You know, like you gotta really plan for it. It can't be something that you're like, you can't show up to Stay and Scream and be like, should we eat at Finnegan's? Like, it's already too late. You have to be there before.
Right. Right. And I even asked you about this earlier this week, Kenneth, because they don't, so they allow reservations all day long, unless it's an HHN night. And then they cut off reservations before 3. So I was like, there's a reservation available at 2:45. Will they let me stay that long for real? And he's like, oh, that's pushing it.
I see. And I don't know the official answer to that.
But I mean, that is a long time to take up a table.
Yeah, that's a very you're going to be there for like 3 hours.
Which I don't mind, like that's not it.
More
I just feel bad.
More than 3 hours. Like it's like like 4 hours at one table. You better tip that server real well.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But after that, you just have to show up early and hope that there's a table, like because reservations, they don't take reservations during that.
And that's probably why. Time. It's probably because of the Stay and Scream crowd.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's so cool, though. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, it is. And that like apple butter they got for their soda bread or whatever, man, oof. If you never
I haven't been there in a while.
Finnegan's
listen,
is
Universal. I would pay for this. I'm going to pitch it to you, and I'm going to let you use it.
Uh-oh.
If you would do a Stay and Scream and Eat, where I can pay $50, $60, whatever, like they did for the parade floats, where I have a guaranteed table at Finnegan's or Lombard's. Really, those are the only 2 options, isn't it?
Yeah, those are the only full-service restaurants inside the park.
Yeah. Even if they wanted to open up another one, Minion Cafe, any of those things, and do it a set charge where I get food and a guaranteed table to wait out my Stay and Scream time, I would buy that and I would sell the shit out of it.
Oh, you mean like scare actor dining?
Well, kind of, yes.
Because character dining was kind of that.
It was, but I mean, without this character dining, like Finnegan's, for instance, sell me all those tables. Don't just I get you don't want to do reservations, but profit off of it. I don't care, but I would pay for it. 100%. Stay and Scream and Eat.
Interesting.
You watch.
Scream and Eat.
It'll be there next year. So let me ask you guys, this is kind of along the same topic of what we're talking about.
Okay.
When is the best time to go to a holding area? If you're one of those people that wants to be sure that you are able to be comfortable, like have a place to sit, be able to have a meal, like when is the best time to show up at those holding areas?
I think that's dependent upon which one you're going to go to.
Yeah.
But it's also dependent on how quickly they can clear out a stay and scream location of regular day guests. Because, like, for me last year, I did 95% of my stay and scream at Richter Burgers, and I would enter the park around 4:30 to 5. And by the time I made it back to Richter Burgers was already set up and like poppin' as a stay and scream location, but I could always find a seat inside. So, yeah. But that's completely different for the New York Scare Zone. That's, I'm sure, very different for the very tiny Today Show Cafe Scare Zone if they continue to do that one.
Yeah, we got in line. What time? Like, shoot, I don't even remember what time we got in line for that.
I have no idea.
I also wonder, though, if the Today Show, our experience at Today Show Cafe was also because we were still implementing social distancing.
Oh, that, yeah, that could have been.
Like they could only have, even though there were tables available inside, they could only have a max capacity based on COVID restrictions. So like, I'm sure now the Today Show Cafe, they just pack people in there. They're like, you want to stand? Go stand. Have fun.
It's like when they try to fit as many people into a phone booth as they can.
It's a very small area. What about Finnegan's, Kenneth?
The New York zone, I would say Maddie's right. It depends on the zone, on the area, the holding area. If you want to find a comfortable place to sit, but you're not eating at Finnegan's, I don't know what time the New York Stay and Scream opens. I feel like it might be the first one, at least that has access to comfort and, food and drink and whatever. But what you want to try to find is like a stoop. All those New York facades have like the stairs. If you can set up camp on a stoop, and never let your whole party leave that stoop at the same time. If somebody has to go get a drink or a snack or to the bathroom or whatever, you got to go and take turns and hold that stoop, because that's the second best that you can do in that area. First is Finnegan's. Okay. Second is you find a stoop and you sit on it. But there's not that many of them, and they go fast because everybody's trying to sit on a stoop. Or in the alley, in Sting Alley, not in the Sting Alley proper, but like the little bit of alley that kind of comes from like where that barber pole is. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like if you can hang out in there, that's a nice little area too.
But last year they also opened up they like cut it right up to the arcade. So like that whole arcade side of the Mummy side of the New York street was open, and you could sit like on the benches or under the awnings of that whole area and down to where the bathrooms are too. I don't know if it's like that every year or every time, but I definitely know that I have sat there before.
Okay.
And then as far as Simpsons goes, if you want to go and try to sit inside, I would say you want to try to get there a little bit later, because like closer to maybe even after 5, because you need to be in the park gates by 5, but you don't need to be in a Stay and Scream by 5. They'll let you walk back towards a Stay and Scream. That park clear takes at least half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes even a full hour. So as long as like that security sweep hasn't passed the entrance to the Stay and Scream, you can still go to it. You want to go to Simpsons a little later so that it's more likely that the restaurant has been opened to Stay and Scream. So you can just go right inside, get your food, find a table, and hang out.
Yeah.
Cool. So before this conversation, I had determined that with my group, which I have a mixture of people who are diehard, like local HHN goers on my team, and then I've also got a couple who are pretty new to the event. So I had decided we were going to have an early dinner together at Sapphire Falls, where I'm staying. And then we would just mosey over to the event casually to go in with the hordes of people when it opens. However, you may have changed my mind.
What time was that?
Instead of helping me, this has hurt my planning process.
Sorry.
What time were you trying to have that dinner?
I have Amatista planned for 3:30.
Okay.
And we were going to just have a casual dinner for a couple of hours and then head over on the water taxi together and go in through the hotel entrance. Do y'all have Express? Yes, we do.
So what I would do then, what I would do is make that dinner a little later if you can, and then try to come in after the horde has gone in, and then just use your Express.
But remember, we have hotel passes.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Have they confirmed that side entrance will be used this year?
Well, no, but they do it every year, so I'm assuming they will.
Yeah.
Maybe not the Blue Man side, but the
other side. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
so I don't know. We shall see what I end up doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Stay and Scream is great. It depends on the people you're with, or if you're by yourself. It depends on what you want to do first, how comfortable you are with, either potentially risking it for the biscuit and being outside in New York, or being at Simpsons or Richter Burgers.
Right. See, my ideal situation would be a table at Finnegan's, but I've got a group of 7 people.
Yeah.
And the risk of us getting there and not having a table would kind of stink.
Yeah.
Listen, Richter Burgers, though, like if you guys do your dinner, maybe move it up a little bit so you can be in the park by 5 if you're going to do Stay and Scream. And even though Richter Burgers is not the fanciest thing ever, and it does dump you into the Fast and Furious house, it's a good spot. There's lots of tables. It is very, 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 very air conditioned. You have the bar that's on the other side that is open during Stay and Scream, the Amity bar.
Chez Alcatraz.
See, I like that.
Yes.
I like that bar option,
and
for sure.
It's very nice because there's no one else on that side of the park. You have your people in New York, but they're further up, and they don't open up the back gate at Starbucks to let people go to the back of the park until after the 6:00 marker. So you basically have that entire San Francisco area to yourself. And by the time you're out of the Fast and Furious house, the park is usually open and you can just dart right back to the Sprung tents.
I have the perfect idea.
Oh.
Let's do a mashup of both. So I can do early dinner with them, and then we can go into the park for Stay and Scream at Richter, where we will meet Maddy.
Hi.
And Maddy, then we can go, because we have Express, then Maddy, we can go out into the scare zones, and you can take agency pictures for us in the daylight.
What? That's so crazy. I love that our podcast has turned into a business meeting.
Yes.
Should I leave? Should I?
No. Kenneth, you stay.
Okay.
Kenneth, you would totally have been invited, but I already know you're not going to be there that night. Oh, goodness. So funny. So, yeah. So now you see kind of how my brain works and why this episode came to be, because there are lots of factors that go into whether this is a good thing for you or not.
I'll say
this was productive.
I will say, if you have Express, Stay and Scream is not as much of a priority. If the social element is not a factor to you, if you don't care about that part of it, if it's really just to save time, the Express is going to probably do more, if not the same, for you as the Stay and Scream does.
Or if you have Express and you still want to do Stay and Scream, remember the Express is only one time per house. So if there's something that you want to do multiple times per night,
like Stranger Things,
do it. Right. So do it as Stay and Scream and save your Express for when it's posting 205 minutes.
Oh, for sure. That was a big tip. Never use your Express in the beginning.
Only a fool uses their Express after Stay and Scream. Or at Stay and Scream.
Well, really, even in the first hour at all.
I would even say 2 hours.
It depends on the house.
Knockout. Right. Yeah. Knockout every low weight. And then once things start to tick up in time, then start using your express, and then go back to the houses you already did one time without the express and use it with the express.
Yep.
Yes.
It's genius.
If you're diehards like us and you like to do things more than once, for sure. But I do have a lot of clients who have never done HHN before, and they just want to check it out, and they're not necessarily diehard, and they're not necessarily trying to do every house.
Yeah.
In which case I don't push them to get in the parks early.
Right. But one other interesting thing about the stay and stream factor is when you see the scare zones and you see the scare actors in the scare zones in the daytime, it kind of lessens that fear factor. Like if you actually are terrified and you don't know how you're going to be, see everything during the day while the event is operating before the sun starts to set. And then you'll know what everything looks like, and you'll know the scare actors that like you're looking out for once the sun starts to set and it starts to be harder to like see in those scare zones. You get kind of like a baby peek at what you're experiencing while it's still daytime outside, and it's not as scary.
I was going to say the exact same thing. For those first timers, if they're nervous, Stay and Scream can definitely have that exact effect. Like there's nothing else I need to say. Maddie said it perfectly.
Also, another tip for first timers, and this isn't relating to Stay and Scream, but it's just something that I have found. A lot of the scares in the houses are a sound trigger that makes you look at the scare actor that is then popping out at you with a light trigger. If you wear some sort of like earplug or even your AirPods while you're inside the house, you're lessening that jump factor of the sound, and you'll be able to, it once again lessens that kind of like overwhelming fear of the full-on jump scare.
100%. That's how I took Krista in the first time, was with AirPods.
Another major Stay and Scream tip that you just reminded me of: wear sunglasses.
Oh yes.
Whenever you are outside in the sunlight at Stay and Scream, keep your sunglasses on and don't take them off until you are in the dark of the house.
Yeah.
Because if you go in if you're outside without sunglasses, you walk into that house, you will be out of that house before your eyes adjust to the dark, and you will just be walking blind, and you will just not be able to see anything, where you're going, what you're looking at, nothing. So the sunglasses,
especially those
will
soundstage houses.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Should we just do a very quick run through of the Stay and Scream locations that we had from last year, just so that I know we've already talked about all of them.
Yeah, we've mentioned them all, but if you weren't paying attention or taking notes.
Now, once again, asterisk, this is all subject to change based on things going on inside the park and construction and all of that. So take this with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
But for last year, so we had the holding areas at Simpsons / Central Park area. They had one at Richterberger. They had one in New York over in the Finnegan's area. And then they also had the Today Cafe holding area.
We should clarify. So the Simpsons Central Park one, that was kind of two holding areas, but their entrances were both at Central Park. So like in that lagoon entrance next to the Central Park crepe stand was where you would scan your ticket and go in, and then they would split you into separate lines based on which houses you wanted to try to see. And then eventually, so you were waiting in the Central Park in the lagoon area. And then once they had cleared the park and emptied the other holding areas, then they would move you from the Central Park holding either into Springfield or into Kid Zone to continue waiting over there.
Yeah. Cool. Which will not be the case this year since Kids Zone is completely under construction.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how it works.
TBD.
Yep, stay tuned because we will be doing an overall event guide before opening weekend. So we'll have all of those details for you then.
Yay! Oh my gosh. 23 days as of this recording on Tuesday, August 8th.
Sweet.
Wow.
Yay. All right.
Well,
Kenneth, you want to wrap us up?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I've not looked at the notes this entire time, but hey, I think that'll do it for this episode. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you soon in the fog. Until next time, for more content, be sure to check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/rushofear and follow us on Instagram and Twitter, which it will forever and always be called at Rush of Fear Pod. At Rush of Fear Pod. I always want to put a .com after that, but no. Anyway.
.com.
For more general Universal Orlando Resort news, check out our friends and UUOP network hosts over at the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, wherever podcasts can be found. And for all your travel needs, especially HHN, please reach out to our host and sponsor and friend, Portkey Vacations. Visit her website, portkeyvacations.com. Just click on the Portkey and submit your no-obligation quote request to begin planning your next magical vacation.
Yay! And be sure to check out Kenneth's band Pangolin everywhere you can listen to music, and follow them on social media at PangolinFL. Kenneth, anything to plug?
We have a bunch of new merchandise, and you can find that at shop.pangolinfl.com. We have a new shirt design that I love so much. It's like people kept thinking it was Squirtle at the show. It's not Squirtle. It's just a generic monster, but it's like a Godzilla inspired design, and it's very fun, and I love it so much.
It's very cute.
So you can find those shirts there. Anyway, the end. Bye.
Yay! And of course, follow the UUOP on TikTok at UUOPod, where you will find me creating things every so often. And as always, if you could please leave a spooky rating and review on whatever podcast platform you're using, it would really help us out, and we'd love to hear from you, the listener, and I'll give you a big virtual hug if you do it. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's all. So thanks for listening, everyone. The podcast has come to an end, and now get out. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.